Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Justin, and this is a 3-minute message. When I was a kid, I was really into collecting baseball cards, and not just any baseball cards, very specifically Ken Griffey Jr. baseball cards. He was my favorite baseball player, and when I was probably kindergarten through 4th, 5th grade, he was like the baseball player. And so it started pretty organically. I got a few of his cards. Then all of a sudden, my dad took me to some card shops and some card shows, which were a big thing back then, and I got more, and it almost became an obsession. At one point in time, I had over 450 unique Ken Griffey Jr. baseball cards. And I basically thought I was sitting on gold as like a 4th, 5th grade kid. I used to get this magazine called Beckett Monthly, and it would just list out all the cards that there had ever been and their value. And so every month I'd get my Beckett and I'd look at all my cards, and I would make a list of how much my cards were worth. And I remember specifically in 4th grade, according to Beckett, my cards were worth over $5,000. And as a 4th grader, I thought, well, that's it. I'm like the richest person in the world. And I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I told him that. I said, Dad, my cards are worth over $5,000. And he said, not necessarily. And I was like, what do you mean? That's what Beckett says. And he said, well, really, son, your cards are only worth what someone is willing to pay for them. And I actually thought that was a pretty profound thing. Even as a 4th, 5th grader, I was like, that's deep. And that stuck with me after all these years. At the end of the day, something really is only as valuable as someone else is willing to pay for it. So think about that for a second with yourself. How valuable are you? Well, you're as valuable as someone would be willing to give for you, and that becomes a pretty powerful idea when we think about Jesus. Because in Matthew chapter 20, verse 28, Jesus says that he came not to be served, but to serve. He came to serve us and to give his life as a ransom for many. He came to give his life as like a ransom payment to pay our way into a relationship with God, into a restored relationship with God where we know that we're good with God. That was the price that Jesus was willing to pay for you. So how valuable are you? Well, you're as valuable as the life and the blood of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. He was willing to give that up for you, and God the Father was willing to sacrifice Jesus for you, to know you. That gives you a value that you can never put into a dollar amount. That gives you a value that you really can't even describe. And as a Jesus follower, you should live every single day of your life understanding that is how valuable you actually are. You are worth the life of Jesus. It was a price he was willing to pay. It was a price that he was happy to pay. That makes you pretty special. So keep that in mind. Let that encourage you. Thanks for listening. This has been a 3-minute message.